Okay, I guess we're just live immediately. That's good. It's much better than last time. Did it post in Discord? It still didn't. That's annoying. I have to figure out why this thing isn't posting anything. The bot is supposed to give some kind of update, and it just don't. It just don't do it. But also, yeah, I don't know. It's not that big of a deal. It is weird though. It says I'm streaming, but I still need to double check. Yep, live. Okay. I already did like audio stuff last time, so it's probably fine. Ahem, ahem. Where are we at? Right, so we are going to take these at this point deprecated functionalities, because now we have a working clicker system inside of these guys, and I want to remove some of this old crap because we have the sound value, function, hover, and whatnot. And I also want to remove a variable called hovering from some other state machines as well. That's over here. And so we're gonna spend some time just doing that. Let me get my notes out and off we go to the races. I'll just put a manual type. I know what I'll do. Okay. There we go. All right, just manually send that one in there into the Discord. Because yeah, I don't know. I don't know why the bot's not updating anything. All right. Probably turn that down. All right. I'm not sure how loud that actually is. Let's try negative 10 dB. Seems like that might be kind of loud. I'm not sure. Well, anyway. I'll let other people tell me what they prefer. All right, so first things first, sound. I've already gotten a bit of a start on this anyway. Part of the problem too is that sound is such a bad variable name since it can be so broad. It's used in a lot of different places, so we have to figure out what ones are actually fine and what ones aren't. We have to find sound relating to puzzle piece only. That's fun. Then there's also piano sound, but that's a secondary thing, so now we'll go and try to find all here. Comes to puzzle piece functions. Oh yeah, so over here, we already took care of this. Sound used to get sent in, but no longer. We don't want that. When it comes to switch, add switch. Ooh. Pretty sure, yeah, every single time. Flips offset. And then what it flips, what it locks, and then very rarely do we actually care about everything else. Okay. Yeah, looks fine. Yeah, that should be fine. We still want this function though. As for all setting all this stuff, we don't care about all this. This doesn't seem to have a problem. We can close that. Whoa. Whoa, that is a freeze. What the heck? Holy cow. That's right, there's a couple of requirements here that we still have to solve. I am going to go ahead. I'm going to go on a limb. Say that I think we've gotten most of these so far. Item interactable functions. Item interactable. Stage effects. Item creation. Nothing here. So far, so good. Sound functions, music functions. Controller, puzzle piece. These would be the only spots. So the key is right here in puzzle piece execute. This is where we're playing the sound. So this is where we play the sound. Then on puzzle piece functions, we create sounds here. What do we call create piano key? I see, literally just here. So, in this case, piano sound has a specific purpose, so that might not be too ridiculous. I'm not sure. Well, again, the point is, though, so we just don't need to do that because we have events now. So it helps simplify a lot. No, we created out here, right? Okay, I know what we do. So we create out here, we pass it into the create piano key situation. And then instead of adding this to a variable, because that doesn't really make any sense, we will just do add event. Or, no, not add event. For this one, we want to target the clicker directly. I'm going to go ahead and make a function for this because this feels like something that should have a wrapper function around it. Let's pull this down here. Because, yeah, this seems like a situation. Clicker sound. Yeah, okay, so we do actually have this. I was thinking that seems kind of whack. Clicker sounds, given key. Why is this freezing so much? Now we give the sound, and then event type. When is piano sound used? Whoops. Okay. We might want to do something. Leave it, I guess. When we play the sound right here, this is when stuff seems to happen. Maybe I'll leave it as is. I'm realizing that this the piano sound has specific rules to it, so I'm gonna leave it as is. Because one big difference that doesn't normally exist for pretty much any other... The normal interaction is usually you click on it, it plays a sound, and then just lets the sound play. But pianos are... The piano system is a little unique in here that you can press and hold it, it'll keep the sound playing, but then if you let go, it'll stop the sound, and that's kind of unique behavior. So we're not going to actually change anything going on here. I think we'll leave it as is for now. So I'm realizing it's like, that probably does deserve its own unique situation. The actual change should be this thing for the normal pieces. I'm going to go ahead and restart this because it is freezing like crazy, and usually that's a good sign that, like, even tried to exit it, it froze, so it's usually a good sign to give it a chance to reset. Pretty overkill. Of course, it also could just be because I'm streaming now. Maybe that's just a bit too much for my, yeah. I don't know, that's a weird bug that happens now. It always says game maker has become unstable. Please save and exit upon starting. Like, oh, wow, thanks. That sounds great. Like, thanks a lot. Game maker, I can't even open a project without it becoming unstable. All right, so where were we? Right, so yeah, create piano key, took that out. We took sound away from this one because same exact reason, what we're trying to do here, but piano sound has different rules, so rather than overcomplicating things, we'll probably just keep it working as is. This is the only place where it's used, so piano keys are probably fine for this. Now when it comes to this thing, what we're looking for is probably sound click more often than anything else. Sound on and sound off are pretty normal, so we'll probably want this. Event type.click, and then there's actually a sound we specifically got recently. It was this one, yes. We'll just do ID for now. See what happens. Put this down here for now. Switches aren't actually in the game right now, actually. I'll have to do something about that. Buttons, though, when it comes to buttons, actually, it's a puzzle, right? This is where we originally changed this, which would make sense. This should be the spot where we do something about this, I think. It feels like that makes sense. So now we do actually keep this. Use default sound if none given. Since we have an opportunity to change it here, we keep the argument, but we just change how it's saved. Excuse me. Also, we could just do this now. That's another thing that's a bit new. With switch, we just set this as your click sound effect. Alrighty. Yeah, some fun things going on over here. That's another thing I'll be looking into at some point. In the meantime, I want to be careful where I jump to. Some of these have more things that I wouldn't want you to see. Or maybe it was just this one. Interesting. Okay. I think we got it, but we still have to search sound in general and make sure we took care of everything. Again, Again, we already kind of went through this and it looks like things are fine, so I'm going to assume it is. Because we just can't go that much deeper. But yeah, this is why, at least with the way Game Maker works, there's no easy way to track down your variables, since they don't actually have any kind of like scoping. Or like the code itself has scoping, but the IDE does not. It's not gonna help you out by letting you know everything that like inherits. Where are we at? This func here has no way of really being tracked down at any point. Makes things pretty difficult, unfortunately, if we want to use it. You had piano sound, we had buttons. Slider cell would be the last thing, I suppose. But even this, I think, has its own weird rules. Very interesting. Yeah, func would be the next one. We've got nodes that have this, we got clickers. Events, switch puzzle. So this is where we actually set up a function call. Right, but the trick is, we really only need that to happen. Use the function. Right? And the fun part is that this can literally be just offloaded to an event. This actually could just be offloaded to an event. I think that's exactly what we will do. So now actually, let me first check where we call these. If I remember correctly though, every single one of these is called in a pressed click. Okay. Those are the only two situations. Oh, and then over here we have a override. Makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Very interesting. I'll have to deal with these two as well. I kind of forgot about that. No arguments. Not even an instance. Oh, actually, we do need an instance, never mind. Just kidding. I think this can be a click. The pianos are the, they're the surprisers. Yeah. Add light, nothing in here. Flip lights, wow. Okay. We no longer need that. Now for the key, we do puzzle.fliplights. I guess that works. And for this one, it was now pressed, I think. I don't think so. I'll have to double check that, but I think it's pressed, so we'll see. Because again, I think that one just works differently. So it feels more like an actual piano, you know? Two extras, data thing, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I think that's all of the, See, the reason why I kind of want to do this is just because it really helps simplify everything. Because tracking down variables like this is a real pain, the less you have to do it. I've learned one big lesson after having such a huge project is use bigger variable names. You know, use like puzzle piece instead of func. Use puzzle piece func. Even if you don't feel like you need to, it really It's more to type, sure, yeah, but it really does help in the future. It really does. Because this is a pain. Hover would be the last one. We'd run a script over here. So that's interesting. We have 2 calls here. We don't need to set that up. Choice functions. Gotcha. We don't even set this to anything. This literally never is used. So for now, it's fine. Yeah, for now, it's fine. Function. Okay, I think that kind of takes care of it. So we'll have to test. We should probably just retest everything. Specifically, we care about how these cells work. The buttons, switches, lights, and then after buttons, piano key. These are all the ones that should make a big difference. Fine. I just need something I need to be able to listen to what happens. Okay, what's up? Dot flips cannot be resolved. Really? Okay. Why not? Where the heck is button? Here it is. Oh, it is clicker step. Okay. Right now I'm confused. What the heck is clickers? Is clicker step, and then we jump down to here with execute, line 130. Perform events. Script execute. Jump to object. Oops. Switch puzzle. What's wrong? Piece.flips. What do you mean? Oh. Well, yeah, we don't pass anything, but I guess that's what actually needs to be called. We have to pass ourselves. Because I saw that. I should have paid more attention. Yeah, we execute with our with the puzzle piece as the first argument. So yeah, I guess I have to throw that in there. What the heck? Perfect. So the lights should not actually have clickers, by the way. That is something that I remember having to deal with, but I sort of forgot. I got lost. So what we'll do, we have a couple of different options, but I think the easiest one, really and truly, is just clicker destroy. Just we ourselves will just delete it immediately after. That should take care of everything, I think. Nice, clean, simple. Because the lights, you don't interact with those. At least you're not supposed to. And just like that, yeah, no, there's no worries. They're just visuals. Should be fine. Okay. Now we need to jump to here. So this is a problem I've noticed. For some reason, these don't seem to disable the map dragging. I'm not entirely sure why not. So I'll have to look into this. Because they don't disable map dragging, it makes this puzzle unfortunately pretty much impossible to deal with. So the cells definitely don't work, but the lights should work perfectly fine now. They no longer can interact with them. The buttons work great. The piano would be the next thing to test. I guess I forgot to do that. I could test the switches, but we don't even use them yet, so I think I'll just leave those for now. If I need to use those, then I can test them then. We'll figure it out then. Jump over here. Very interesting. The hitboxes look good. Can't hear a thing though. Let me go check and see what's up over here. Maybe there's a solution. Okay. Whoops. Put this down here. I still have to deal with this too. This is another one that's going to be interesting to work with. Because that's very unique as that one's set up. Okay, now would be the time, I think, to deal with this. I see, so I don't want this one to run, is pretty much what it seems like that's the case. So for now, we'll just simply say if object is ancestor, working with myself, piano key. It's a very simple check. If you're not piano key, then don't do that. But we have to come up with a better solution in the future. Okay, that's not the problem here, but it does help at least a little bit. I've also noticed something, so if I stop. Okay, yeah, I was curious about that. So I've discovered something else about the way that the hitboxes last. For some reason, they seem to not turn off when I move from layer to layer. We'll have to see why not. I wonder. This has nothing to do with what we're just doing right here, by the way. I just kind of thought of something. I should throw another check. If clicker dot linked object instance activate. We should do this. Instance exists. This way, if the linked object is actually currently deactivated, this should properly ignore those clickers. Because we don't want them to be destroyed if they don't exist. We also don't want their hitbox to show up. Because I was actually curious about this, how many of these are actually activated and how much of these are just persisting accidentally. Let's see what's up. Okay, so we got a bunch of stuff that shows up, that's cool. Then we stop. They all disappear. Come back. Here they all are. And they stop. Okay, that's helpful. Well, you can actually... Huh. Oh. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure why, because you can see that they're obviously, they don't show up. They should be completely deactivated during that situation. It makes sense why the object itself isn't deactivated, but also shouldn't be visible, even still. I have literally no clue what might be going on with that. We will see what the deal is. Yeah. Not visible. Still clickable. The clicker should still be there, though. But yeah, that helps at least a little. Because yeah, if the object is actually deactivated, I don't want to see its hitbox anymore. I'm more interested in seeing what's happening if the object isn't deactivated. Because usually that's, at least right now, that means a lot of the times something's wrong. Because in the process of showing up these hitboxes, I noticed a problem with the fact that a lot of objects just straight up don't deactivate when they're supposed to, which could really help performance if we just make sure they don't exist anymore, because you don't need to be able to interact with things in the Misted Harbor if you're in the Cathedral or anything, you know, similar. It doesn't make any sense. But I thought the code already was handling that, so I've learned that apparently not, and I'm not entirely sure. So I turned off the, I have some like fail-safe code that makes sure that, you know, if you're not on the correct layer, it always disables. And so I turned that off, and lo and behold, turns out, yeah, you could actually interact with all, like pretty much everything from any layer at any time. And I need to figure out why, how and why and what's going on. It's very strange. Anyway, back to what we're doing over here, though. Clicker enabled. So we already did the check here, so we probably don't need to worry. We've already got that other check in the GUI code that I just added that says, that asks for instance existence. So we don't have to do that twice. So now we're back here. So pretty much the one thing, yeah, we wanted to cancel this out for here. We also want to remove clickable, maybe. This might actually be necessary, because some puzzle pieces don't actually want to be... Oh no, that's the point though. Let's double check. Let's see exactly what this is trying to say. Switches, buttons, yes. Slider cell, yes. Puzzle piece, by default, no. Some general functions here. Yeah, I'd say so. This is becoming confusing. Let's see here. This is the most interesting portion. We turn clickable on or off depending on what we need. So this is what handles empty. Okay, I see. So if it's locked, if it's a block, if I remember correctly, right? I think so. Empty is just straight up empty, right? That's the little plus that shows up. Block is an unmovable block. No, that doesn't make... That doesn't seem right. Oh, I see. And then that's the exception. So basically saying all of these, because, oh yeah, these were things that never panned out. They could be added in the future, though. Then ignore this one. So yeah, if it's locked, which means the space just doesn't exist, or if it's empty, you can't click on any of these things, and that seems very reasonable. That's just an intuitive way to make the system work, because otherwise it'd be very confusing. So that is like the one big use of this clickable variable. Otherwise, everything else is unnecessary now because we have clickers, being this setup, the clicker functions. So save for that one exception, because we don't want to create the clicker and then delete it and then recreate it and delete it. That'd get ridiculous. That's very expensive for no reason. So perhaps what we could do is just a very quick like on-off function inside here. You could temporarily disable this. That feels like that makes the most sense, right? Yeah, I feel like that makes a lot of sense. We have enable level. This is a whole thing going on here, so maybe we could do something with this too. You could think it through. They know they have the map setup. Dang. I don't think I'd want to... It'd be dangerous to go to enable level off. That seems like a bad idea, because that completely disables everything, and we have no clue where we went to after that. If we... maybe it's fine, because basically what we'd be doing here... clicker enable. Clicker set. What's really interesting is that there's no way to set the enable level as is right now. That's very interesting. Okay. Oh, that'd be a better place for it. Actually, we should move this up here. I'm not sure if this is smart or not. Because for now, we know that we always want map. We don't want puzzles to be able to be interacted with outside of the map. The only thing that makes me really cautious about this is that if we ever decide to change the enable level of map, if we ever decide that we actually want them to be a different enable level, suddenly we have to remember to set this here. That is a little bit worrying. I'm not sure. But I guess for now it's fine. I can't foresee a reason why we'd want to change that, but if we did want to change it, that could be a pain. We'd have to remember to change it there too. Anyway, so we know this one has a clicker, so we don't have to... Yeah. This has got a clicker, so... It's no big deal. This one's also got a clicker, same thing. Puzzle pieces assume that you don't have a clicker, even though it's actually not even remotely true anymore. They all do. If we're removing this check, Okay, we'll worry about that in the future. Because light would inherit this, that is true. Gotcha. Right, these are set in events. I think you'd have a hard time. Okay, so we don't have to actually check this here, but I will put down a note. Let me just get the whole line. This basically said, if the cell is not clickable and it's not empty, then we should exit. That was the rule. At this point, I don't think... Not clickable and object type. Let me double check that. Yeah, so anything that isn't empty and also would be disabled for some reason due to probably something like this. Origins would fall under that category, I imagine. Get some of those things. We still want to interact with empties, but we want to make sure that anything that gets clicked gets out of here. That's healthy. That's how that's supposed to work. That makes sense. This explains why this whole thing didn't work, though, is because this is actually its own separate... You know what? Here's what we're going to do. Because this just needs to be added in general. This needs to be added to events in general. That's a whole thing going on here. So yeah. As long as I take care of that, it should be fine. When you click on them, I don't think we need to worry about this. This makes it so light can ignore that both times. So now we don't need this anymore. Or this. I can actually simplify this and just turn it into that. This becomes a very simple function over here. Okay, we got all those covered. So it takes care of clickable. So it's replacing sound, func, hover, clickable with a much nicer system. A lot easier to track things down. Now I have to replace hovering, but it has nothing to do with piano pieces, so we can leave that for later. Okay. First things first, run this, see if we get any obvious crashes and bugs and whatnot. That'll help guide us. Okay. Not set before reading it. Oh, you can't even see this. Lol. Add grid. Jump into there. Create cell. Slider cell create. Number 2 jumps into puzzle piece line 11. Ah, interesting. Okay. No, that makes sense. I moved too quick here. Because we have to actually reference a function if it's been created. And since it's declared down here, it hasn't been created yet. Okay. Let's not try the slider cells yet. I don't think those will work properly regardless. That's good. Nothing to click. Very nice. Looks good. Okay, so there's currently no win condition, but that's actually to be expected. So the thing that's supposed to trigger the win condition was originally found in puzzle piece execute. This is where we want things to happen. This is where we want some amount of stuff to occur. But because of the way we're slowly transforming stuff, I played this on before. Now we want to change the way this works, the rules, so to speak. Then down here, we override this, but we no longer want this function to exist in the first place. Piano key is the one exception. We want this to then handle both. Figure out exactly how we want to do this in a bit. So that's the key here, right? If we win through this means, this is how stuff is supposed to happen. Oops. Actually, I have an idea, just to help simplify things a bit. For now, I'm gonna pull this over here. If this is a piano key, then do this. Just because now the code's in the same place and I can better figure out what I want to do going forward. Also, let me do click here. So I can just track and make sure that this is in fact happening on the snap when we actually click. So on the off chance it doesn't happen that way, that makes things harder to deal with. Or easier, I don't know. But it would mean that my guess over what might be the wrong thing. It's clicking, as we can see. Over here. There we go. And then if I click this, we should have gotten a chance to run this. For some reason, though. So we know something's happening in the process here. When we do puzzle.firstClear, win puzzle puzzle, there's a couple of potential thoughts going on. Probably jump into here, right? Now we try an actual debug situation. Whoa. Oh, I can't move that. That's unfortunate. There it is. The debug. Okay, so this isn't quite correct. We're gonna let this just run for a second. I'm gonna go ahead and solve this first. Wait, that did work. Okay, now I'm confused. Now I'm very confused. That wasn't supposed to work. What mistake did I make? What? How did it succeed? All right. Jump into debug mode. This is apparently -5. Okay, so now theoretically we should just win. That's what this seems to imply. Okay, I think I actually know what the problem is. After taking just a second there, I think I actually realize and I get why this is problematic. What's happening is not that we're not winning, it's that we are winning, but the trigger doesn't happen until you click one more time. So we win right here, but it takes us to do anything else first, and then it will trigger. So now we have to figure out why that seems to be the case. The first time, very interesting. Yeah, why would that be the case? The first time you run through Win Puzzle, we do the Win Puzzle check. Oops. We're gonna get this mic in a place where I don't hit it so often. Oopsies. Okay. Now I understand why I'm so confused. This is an overloaded function. That's what's going on. Okay, this makes way more sense. Switch puzzle, yes. So for the switch puzzle, this is the one that's being called. If the light is not on or it's locked, then it's just false, because all of them have to be unlocked and on. So we return true here. So essentially, essentially what we're looking for, we could solve this if we, whoa, why is this in the button? Well, whatever. Too late now. If we jump back up here, we can go into win puzzle. We can simply just say this. Begin win. This will give us a direct, instantaneous sort of confirmation that we did in fact win. Okay. To me, that's the first problem. Alright, I have a theory. I have a theory for what might be happening and why. Where's switch puzzle, though? Oh, yeah, what a pain. There it is. This would be where I'd return true and begin the win. But in this case, we have to say print the light and then the on status and the locked status. The light that's failing us, we might be able to get an idea. We found one that is on but locked. Yeah. So this didn't fully confirm what I'm expecting, but I have a bet. I'm gonna say this. Since all of them were on and locked, and then we pressed the button and unlocked them, and then one of them returned on and locked again, my theory, I think, is kind of proven. That the win puzzle check is happening before the changes occur. So the... Gotta sneeze, that's threatening to come. Basically, this is running the win puzzle check, and then we are updating the light situation. So it thinks that we haven't won yet because it's looking at the lights and it's going, yeah, they're locked. Yeah, they might be on, but they're locked, so it doesn't count yet. Except we are literally unlocking them on this click. So we need this win puzzle to basically happen after the original fact. And as for buttons, because the order in which events occur is not necessarily always going to be the same. So that might be the biggest struggle from here on out, is dealing with order. So win puzzle check probably shouldn't happen. I mean, having it happen on each click is actually pretty smart, but because originally it used to happen every step, and it was like, that's a lot. It's a lot of checking. But I mean, that might be what we need to do. We might have to go back to that. But I'm curious. I think we might be able to do better than that. After clicking, we always jump back to hover. Every single time. By the by. We can't guarantee the order, which I think is the problem here. Well, I could do one more test to figure out for sure. I probably should. Before I start going too far down a rabbit hole, I should make sure that this is in fact the actual problem. Because otherwise we'll be... Who knows how long we could be barking up that tree. Okay. So now, I just put a breakpoint here. Do a quick hit. And we go. We should be able to go down, down. Check out my events. There's 3 of them. We're looking at event 21 right now. So you have 2 event 21s. This one does check out. Or no, maybe it doesn't. Alright, this particular event checked out. No arguments. Oh, you can't even see that, but I guess I'll put it over here instead. No arguments, undefined node. This is a function that we don't know for sure, but we'll find out very soon because we'll jump into... I don't think we need that, yeah. There you go. This is the one check. We run it. Step out, we don't need to do more than that. There you go, there you go. Next one. Check this out of the skip check. Jump into here, and now we flip the lights. Yep. Okay, so that's full confirmation now. No longer am I guessing. That is 100% correct. We flip the lights, we lock the lights, we do all of the adjustments after we've already checked if it's 1 or not. So we'd have to do something to make sure that this happens secondary. But again, events do not care about the order they're called in, and that's always true. And I don't want to try to make a brand new setup to force the order. That's going to be ridiculous. For just one case, I'd far prefer to just figure out an alternative solution here. Because yeah, that'll be crazy. That'll be ridiculous to deal with. No, instead what we need is something else. Maybe what we do is we find where flip lights and lock lights are being handled. When we actually determine flip lights. Oh, I see. So there's no lock lights. Is that right? No. Perfect. So that actually makes it even easier. This might be the best way to do it then. Flip lights. We add this click event right here. We then run this down here, and we then check if puzzle's solved. This would be where we do it. Kind of. So now this is a switch puzzle. Okay. This doesn't really matter too much. Back up to puzzle piece. And yeah, now in this case, what we're going to do is make a function. For now, it's going to be unnamed. I don't actually know what to name it yet, but it'll just be these two simple things. When puzzle.first clear and then when puzzle. We'll cut this out of here, and because this no longer exists, we don't even need to have all these double checks, because this just won't be part of it. Instead, what we'll do is we'll go to puzzle functions. You have in puzzle, win puzzle. Just send in what puzzle we're talking about. Okay. So yeah, I need to come up with a name. We can't do win puzzle check or win puzzle. We wouldn't want to do win puzzle. Win puzzle check, though, we still can't do that because these are in the actual puzzles. So instead, what we need to do, test puzzle 1. This makes things tough, right? Because we have like two functions. We have the win puzzle, which actually handles winning. Then we have win puzzle check, which handles the conditions necessary to win. I guess what we can do, because this really should be called win puzzle check. This is like, that's the best name I can think about. I can think for it. So probably what we do instead is we rename this to puzzle win requirements. Still properly encapsulates what we actually need for this to succeed. That's what's happening. These are the win requirements. This is what it takes to win. But it's no longer nearly as crazy. Okay, and so this one is there are no win requirements. By the way, this should just return false every time then. If it's an empty puzzle, you just can't win. Otherwise, I could see that breaking pretty quickly. Puzzle win requirements. Just return false. That'll be the default. We have switch and slider puzzles, which each have their own requirements here. Perfect. Now we have win puzzle check. And with any luck, this will be fine. And then finally, the last step is go to switch puzzle. And at flip lights, this is where we do it. Just pass in myself, because that's the scoping we're dealing with here. And then I'll do the same thing for normal puzzles too. Well, for all of them. And for now, I guess this is fine. My brain got a little distracted there. These are 2, blah, blah, puzzle check, we already know about that. Okay, and then this also, oops, no longer have that copied. That's annoying. Okay, that's easier. Right, and so this step check is also one that I'm not a huge fan of, but it's it's just a simple if check, which is a lot easier to deal with, I think. There's not nearly as much, you know, a couple of variable checks is okay. This just makes sure that if you show up to a puzzle you've already solved, it'll solve it immediately. The very first frame that it shows up, it'll solve it. I was having some issues where, like, upon entering, for some reason, sometimes that wouldn't work right. It was very annoying. This is also how this state machine works, because this actually runs for like 500 frames or something like that to get the full animation, because there's a bit of a transition period when you win. You don't immediately just blink to the next thing. Okay, so now what have we been up to? What did we just do? Let's come back for a second. Lord knows I need to reset a bit. Added the win puzzle check. We added what should probably be a fix for the buttons having out of order checking. I think that really is just kind of rounds it up. Just make sure that order is guaranteed now when we're checking. Nice. Animation works properly. Awesome. Great. Sounds good. Okay, so buttons are working perfectly properly now, though. I'll have to deal with this, but that's the next little mini project. Yeah, should be fine. Pressed is interesting. Do we use this anywhere else? I feel like that could also be simplified, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just curious. Okay, so that's just an animation variable. That works fine for me. So yeah, buttons I think are a-okay. Lights also, I didn't double check, but lights also should be fine too, because we didn't change anything about them. Slider cells and puzzles and all that, that'll need its own little thing. Put slider functions up here. These should probably be fine. We'll leave both of those though. That's another mini project. Excuse me. Yeah, lights no longer have a hitbox. We jump up to puzzle piece. We know buttons work, we know switches work, we know lights work. Well, I don't know if switches work, but again, because we don't actually, these are just animation variables, those are the thing. We don't actually use anything else here, so for the most part, it should be fine. Very simple stuff. Piano key's the only one now. I think what I'll probably do is we'll wrap up this and try to make sure piano keys work properly. Because this is fine. I'll put these up here. I don't have a huge workspace. And then I'll leave slider cells for later, because that's the next project probably. Okay, so then here's what we do. Go test that real quick, and now we run through this and try to see. Actually, do that again. Put this on hold, but yeah, basically that's our goal. Let's try to see what's up with this. Are we at least trying to play that? So far, no. Okay, so that's your first step, right? That's the first thing that's going wrong. We're not running this event at all. Not entirely sure why not, but yeah, that's your first problem. second test would be this. We also can pull this probably back down. I really wish there was a way to make it so that doesn't show up every time. GameMaker updated its debug stuff, which is great, but the problem is, yeah, it's a really big window, and I kind of wish it didn't show up every single time. So we know off is properly getting set. That's good. We stop the piano sound. That's probably exactly how it should be happening. By the by, we can put this back now. Whoa, what just happened? There we go. We do a quick win puzzle check. Very nice, simple. That's if you press it. For now, we'll leave it as is, although we actually want to remove this because we just found out why that's problematic. But again, this is okay. We have a cleanup, global left released. For now, let's turn that off and just say, yeah, there just is no event here. What I'm interested in, because it seems like to me, I don't know if anyone else is noticing, when I click on that thing, it looks like I'm constantly clicking over and over. And I'm not trying to do that. That's just what's happening. See? Something sussy about that. That's not how that's supposed to happen. So I think it's because these aren't properly disabling. For some reason, maybe. Disable camera panning. I don't know why that's a problem. I didn't even think to check that. That should just be working for everything. But yeah, okay, yeah, so these work properly, right? These are working. That's what we would want. But I noticed this problem with the slider puzzles too, where if I click on them and drag, it's not properly... I don't know what it's doing. Like, what is that? What's going on here? That's crazy. Maybe we swap. I might need more time for that. Let's stick with this instead. Hovering, yeah. Okay. So we will cut hovering. I don't know, because then the problem with this one is that that's a lot more broad. We're working with a lot more stuff. I'd like to keep this simpler. So yeah, piano key inherits a lot from button. If we just do this, reset. Otherwise, this is pretty simple. We have a draw, we've got a step event. This is all very simple stuff though. Very unlikely any of this is causing the problem. Not even running the reset. Okay. Sounds good. You reset at the beginning though, that's kind of nice. So I'd say we're fine there. Then we have some inheritance going over here. We stop the sound after it's destroyed, makes sense just in case. Draw ourselves. Interesting, okay. So if I were to do this, Maybe that's what's causing the issue. Clean up, create. Yep, okay. So that's what's going on there. Whoops, sorry. That's fine. Again, we don't actually need this anymore, I don't think, if we have this proper... Well, again, we'll figure that out, because when we remove this, we'll come back here. This is part of the reason why I'm removing this, is because the clicker system will take care of stuff like this for me. But more specifically, I'm interested into why disable camera panning doesn't seem to be going off. Doesn't seem to be triggering. So this is the next step. Why is this not triggering? Or is it? And if so, then how are we still able to pan the camera? That's the first thing that seems to be very wrong. We're also not pressing infinitely either. We know that because... Why? Or are we getting in there? Print test. What in the world is that? Bizarre. The hitboxes are designed properly. What's the deal here? Why can't we get here? Okay. Debug time. Am I hovering over anything? What's going on? That was weird. Is that just like the default? Who knows? Okay, first of all, we have to turn these off then, because I have to actually get to where we need to be. This will drive me crazy. Okay, now we can do when hovering. There we go. So we are hovering. We're legitimately hovering. That's real. So the really interesting question then is just how we're hovering right now. So what's happening here? What is happening here? This is crazy talk. How is it that we can't seem to get from point A to point B? Okay. So next shot. In the process of hovering. Check out what events we have. We have a few. What type are we in? -22. None should go. I should actually check that. Yep, no events happened. -22 is hover. Should be, at least. Obviously, we're not pressing that. Mouse check button pressed any. I don't know. I don't get it. How is it that it's... How can we not land in that? That doesn't make any sense to me. How are we getting... What is stopping us from this? This is crazy. This suddenly became way more complicated for no reason. There's no explanation for why we can't get from point A to point B here. None of the events are running. Just try one more time just to be sure, but yeah, none of the events are running. Just step through each one. No, 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 and no. So none of the events ran. We know, okay, and double checking that hover is 22. We know that's the case, so we're not turning it off. So for some reason, it just won't take the MB pressed functionality. It just won't take it. So what if I just do if true? How about that? Now I don't have to check. It just will occur. Basically, the game will just assume that we are in fact always clicking. Shit. It's gonna be harder than I thought. Gotta be very creative with how I move. Okay. That worked. That's absurd. What? All right, you know what? I'm gonna go eat dinner. I need a second. I have to figure out. This doesn't make any sense. All right, we'll figure that out. We'll figure that out soon. But what? Somehow it's impossible for the mouse button to. This is literally a problem only with the piano pieces. I don't know what's going on. Well, yeah, whatever. All right, I'll see you later.